What is going on, guys? Commodore Laz here today, bringing to you guys my review of Haikyuu manga chapters 270 and 271. And you know, it's been a little bit since I talked about Haikyuu. I know last week I was going to try and get a reaction or review out. Unfortunately, Kingdom and One Piece kind of came out on the same day, and I did do a reaction for it. I just felt it wasn't good enough to upload, so I figured I'd wait until 271 dropped and just talk about both chapters in this video. And it was a good thing I did that because I enjoyed 270 a lot. We're kind of dealing with the things going on right now with Nishinoya. Unfortunately, he's going through kind of a slump at the moment, the way Atsuma has kind of been dealing things, you know, with serve aces, and we're kind of seeing now that his receiving game hasn't been on point. He's making a little bit of a couple of mistakes here and there in this chapter, and unfortunately, kind of what members in the crowd were kind of saying in this chapter regarding a crucial component to this team. And if the libero, you know, who's considered the best receiver, if they're not able to receive a lot of these, you know, spikes that are coming in from the opposite team, if they're not able to connect to it, make a receive, and try to counter it and set it off to the next court, then it's going to make things a little bit more tougher for them and the rest of the team, and especially coming from the team perspective. If you're not able to have your libero be at his top game, if the guy who's considered your top receiver isn't able to kind of like, you know, make those saves, make those receives that are considered easy, look at the morale afterwards for the team. Like, everyone else is going to be saying, well, if our guy can't do it, if our libero can't do it, how the hell do you expect that we can do that? And with the loss of morale from Karasuno, which we're seeing here in this chapter, that's all going towards Inarizaki, because you see from Atsuma saying, doesn't it feel good to be able to get, you know, points off top talent, to be able to go off of someone that's considered strong. And I like how, in a way, that's kind of praising a little bit to Karasuno and Nishinoya, but at the same time, it's kind of to boost like his own ego a little bit. Where I'm at right now, it's like 16-7. You know, in chapter 270, we're seeing like Nishinoya kind of starting to crumble a little bit. You know, he's starting to understand the trajectory has kind of been messing him up, and eventually, like, he starts looking into like himself a little bit and seeing like what the hell is going on. And then eventually, when it looks like Tanaka and Azumane, we're gonna go and take care of him, because we know from Nishinoya, whenever someone's like, you know, nervous or shy, he's usually the first one to kind of talk to them, kind of, you know, get their spirits up. But when the guy who's considered the comforter of the group is the one that needs comforting, how do you expect to help him out in that situation? And when it looked like Tanaka was about to go walk up to him and see how things were, he went down and started doing like the finger push-ups, and it kind of reminded me back in season 2, you know, during the training camp arc, you know, when they were, you know, if they lost a game or they made a mistake, they had to go and do finger push-ups, or they had to do runs. He's trying to keep things ordinary, trying to keep it normal, and trying to not look like, you know, he lost his composure, so that if he looks like he lost his composure, they can pretty much strike on him. You know, Inarizaki will take that as an advantage and try to go after him as much as they possibly can. And because he was able to get his composure a little bit better from this one, he was able to make the receive. Unfortunately, it went over back to Inarizaki, and from there we saw the setup play, and it looked like Suki. And I gotta say this right now, I feel bad for Suki, because he got me hyped. He was like, you know, I could tell that's a possibility, and I'm gonna block it. Until Suna Rintaro, man. Like, this guy just come out of nowhere, and he just goes, and he, like, it looked like he was going for a cross, but he just, like, it looked like he's changed his entire torso into that move and just spikes it right past Suki. And I'm just like, and the way the announcer was kind of saying in this chapter, like, you know, if you're not worrying about Atsumu, you gotta watch out for Osamu. If you're not watching out for Osamu, you gotta watch out for Rintaro. Like, they're just saying that, no, even though you think this might seem like a two-man team, it really isn't. There's a lot of components that make up this team, considered the runners-up of the nationals, like the inner high. And like, it just goes to show, especially going into 271. And I liked how Hinata also was kind of saying this is a battle between the super spiker versus the super receiver. And it really goes to show that these guys are truly top talent. And then by the time we get to the very end of this match, at least for 270, where the score at the moment right now was 17-7, and things are looking really bad for Karasuno, especially when you're going into the next component. And then off to 271, we get to see, you know, the crowd kind of talking a little bit about Rintaro and how he was able to pull off, you know, the spike he did on Suki. And it goes to show that he has this thing where he's able to manipulate blockers. You know, he's able to, you know, change up the way his torso, like I was saying earlier, he's able to move his torso in a way where, let's say like the ball is coming towards me and I'm about to hit a spike and I'm running on a diagonal like angle like this, right? If he, you know, usually you're gonna go and try to hit it in that angle, but because he switched up his torso, the way his movement was with his hands, he was able to switch that up and be able to send it into another direction, kind of confusing the blockers. And with that, by manipulating them, he can pretty much control anything with the way he moves, bro. And just like Rintaro, and especially Ojiro, had me this chapter. Like, I have not been this hyped up regarding two characters probably since my time with Tendo Satori when it came to Shiro Toizawa, like in the anime and then rereading it in the manga. Like, the way this man just came across off, especially like with Ojiro. Like, this guy got 3 straight, man. 3 straight. And the score right now at the moment is like, what, 19-9? So it's just like, to go to show this is not a two-man team. Like, the Mia twins are considered monsters. They are definitely considered monsters, you know, throughout Japan. Definitely. You know, if we have to say, they gotta be close. Like, you know, think of like in Kuroko no Basket where we have like the Generation of Miracles, right? And there was that group, I forget the name, it's been so long, but the group that was like underneath them, who were like, if they could be considered the next step getting into the Generation of Miracles, they gotta have something like that where it's close to where, like, you know, Ushijima and the other 2 aces, like those guys were like literally underneath them. I think the Mia twins would definitely fill that cut. And it just goes to show, like, yo, these guys are monsters, but Rintaro, Ojiro, like, and especially Rintaro, this guy had me in this chapter towards the end because he did like a Matt B line. Shout out to Matt B because he, you know, he went with a yikes when Ojiro spiked it down, and I gotta go back to this part. But the way, oh, it was just so good. Like, there was one play where Ojiro, I think it was the second serve he made, he went and shot it right down to Azumane, and Azumane, it bumped right off his shoulder, it was going right back up. And just when he thought they were going to get that chance to kind of connect from it, you just see this man come down and just, like, smash it. And I'm just like, bro, like, this guy's crazy. Ojiro is insane. It's just like, it's not even just the twins. I keep saying this, it's not just the twins. But it goes to show, like, Karasuno has to give it their all in the final set. There's no way now that they're going to win the second set. I've been saying this before. They have to take it to a third set. And I believe the scoring for the third set as well goes to like up to 15 instead of it is to 25. So this is going to be crucial now, because if Karasuno cannot get that morale back, if they can't get that momentum going, they are going to be crushed by this team. The way that they've been playing right now has just been out of this world, and they need their top guys. They need Nishinoya to get those receives. They need everyone to be alert, because if you're not alert, it's game over. And especially the way like Ukai was kind of saying it towards the end of the chapter after we see, you know, Ojiro kind of going in, and he's like, you know, the other coach was like asking him, you know, should we go and you take a timeout? And he says, no, not yet. Like, I understand completely where they're coming from, because you want to get that timeout, trying to stop the momentum, what's going on. But I think right now you got to try on your own to break that morale. If you expect, you know, the timeouts to kind of come into play and try to calm them down, it's not going to. Right now, Inarizaki has things under control, and Karasuno has to use their own guts, their own will to kind of like sustain themselves back into this match. They have to keep things going, otherwise they're going to crumble. Even though I know, like, I've been talking a lot about Inarizaki in this chapter, but I have to say too, Karasuno was doing a little, like, pretty good as well. We saw like Kageyama and Suki kind of trying to do their best, try and block Rintaro, and it goes to show like how much these two have now connected as like the blockers for Karasuno, to the point where you have someone like Kenma kind of taking notice and saying like, wow, those guys are fast and they're strong. Like, it's just like, they're scary. Like, it's just the way that these guys are connected together. Like, they dislike each other, you know, for their personalities and whatever, the way their styles kind of match up, but you put those two together, they're almost like the glue in the front. Now it's like they got to try and keep that glue as strong as possible now. And I just cannot wait to see how things are going to play out for Karasuno, because even though I still believe that Inarizaki should win this match, it depends on how bad the margin is. Because if you have them winning, let's say like 25-10, that's bad. Like, imagine you just won that first set against the champs, and then the champions, like, you know, the runners up come in and just says crush you right after that. It just looks so bad on Karasuno. But honestly, I do see somewhat of a chance of them trying to make a comeback, but if the morale is completely low, personally, I don't think Inarizaki is going to end up losing that match, and like, Karasuno would need a miracle of sorts to kind of try and come back. I mean, they can pray that the Mia twins are going to mess up on the serves, kind of like we saw when Nishinoya was expecting one of the serves to come to him afterwards, and one of the guys, you know, in the crowd was saying, you know, if you want to see exactly what Rintaro has to offer, what he means when he's manipulating blockers, watch the one he serves, and then clearly we see the serve passing by Nishinoya. So unless they're going to wait for those kind of chances to happen, I don't think that's going to be the case. They literally need some kind of miracle to happen where Nishinoya, Azumane, Sawamura, those guys have to go in there and stop a lot of those plays and try to make their own plays to try to get back in this game. But overall, though, it was a very, very good set of chapters between 270 and 271. I feel like 270, it was more, again, like we were saying, with Nishinoya trying to figure out exactly how to stop things with the twins, and then eventually leading to the Rintaro shine towards the end of the chapter. And then over here in 271, kind of covering again the stuff, you know, with him you know, his way of manipulating blockers, using the torso, going to show that he is a lethal component. Now, like I said before, again, if we have a generation of miracles, in a sense, you know, the 3 aces in Japan, Ushijima and the other 2 aces, then I definitely think there's going to be some kind of cut that's underneath them, and that Rintaro, Ojiro definitely are guys there that probably fit that, you know, that name, that they're underneath those guys for the 3 aces. But that's pretty much my review for Haikyu chapters 270 and 271. Hopefully I can try and get a live reaction out for 272, because I know Kingdom's going to be out on break this week, and hopefully, you know, because of that, the chapters will not come out in the same time like it did 2 weeks ago. So hopefully I can get a live reaction for that out. If you guys want to see a live reaction for Haikyu, please let me know in the comment section below. If not, I'll probably do another review for it. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. And I'll catch you guys hopefully next week for more Haikyu greatness. So Commodore Laz, signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.